New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
We are always told that networking is of utmost importance in the job search. But how do we establish a network within LinkedIn? That is the topic of today's Job Chat. My name is HECTOR SILVA. I'm here with Don Apple.
Hector, we've been talking with our guest previously about the profile. We built the profile. Now let's find out how to use that profile.
Our guest today is Bethany Spilde. And she has been with us before. We've talked about profiles in the past. We've talked about to-do lists. And today we're going to be talking about building a network.
And Bethany is a sought-after speaker, and her interactive and positive style inspires participants to not only seek new ideas, but to identify quantifiable business strategies. And her ability to at once inform, entertain, and inspire makes Bethany a pioneer in the sometimes amorphous realm of social media marketing. A former professional athlete, Bethany applies many of the same characteristics to business, and that makes her a champion. She knows how to use that drive, diligence, and forward thinking and continue to be energetic. Always seeing the possible rather than the obstacle, Bethany is able to turn vision into reality. And Bethany, once again, welcome to Job Chat.
Thank you, too. It's my pleasure.
Bethany, why would we want to establish a network in LinkedIn?
Why wouldn't you? It's a social network.
Hey, I asked the questions.
Oh my goodness. There's so much of a benefit to start networking online, because me sitting across from you right now, though our listeners can't see that, I can't see who you know. There's no way. I can't ask you, like, so who do you know? But I can go on LinkedIn and see everybody that you're connected to. So, like, that's a whole nother dynamic. So it amplifies the networking possibilities with that. So when I do meet you face to face, I can say, hey, I noticed that you're connected to so-and-so. Would you mind introducing us? And that third-party validation is so awesome. It's warm. And according to Wall Street Journal, 90% of jobs are filled through employee referrals or networking connections. So 90%. 90%. So when you think about that, you're just like, okay, it makes sense to be on LinkedIn and start networking.
And you're at a huge disadvantage if you're not on LinkedIn.
Right, you're missing out. And I know another study had reported that there are an average of 300 job seekers that apply to any given job posting online. 300. So thinking of, how do I set myself apart? And by getting on LinkedIn and networking, you're doing, instead of so much of a job search, you're doing a people search, because it is about people. People work at those companies, and they're the ones that are recommending people to work there.
I like that. It's not a job search, it's a people search.
Mm-hmm. And when you're doing this, then their network, or that person's network, becomes your network.
Correct.
Okay. So you've now doubled, tripled, whatever the amount of people is on that network to your network.
Well, they become your second degree. So you're just one person away. Your friends, contacts, and that's all, warm. It's just, you can sit down and introduce each other, and then you're on your merry way, and they become your first degree connection then. So that's the whole idea. And another one that people should be aware of for statistics is 90% of recruiters do a Google search, and so then LinkedIn comes up in the top 28% because it is a social networking site. And if your profile is 100% complete, like we talked about in the last show, then you'll be on that first page of results. And since 79% of employers are conducting the online search, it makes sense to be on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. And it's also reciprocal, because your network then becomes people that they would want to meet. Mm-hmm. So that establishes or solidifies that relationship between both you and that other person.
You got it.
Yeah. So how do you start that? How do you build that network?
That's a great question. And there are different ways to do it, and LinkedIn tries to help you since it is a social network. The first one would be to upload your email contacts from your address book. So then from there you can see, are they already on LinkedIn, and then you can connect with them. It's just going through a whole list and check. Okay, yeah, I want to connect with them. I don't want to connect with them, and going through. And that could establish that baseline of your network.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't recommend adding everyone in your email address book. Actually go through and see who those people might be. Because you might have ones like a doctor or something you don't really care about.
Not necessary to your job search.
Right.
So you have to be selective in who can help me or who can I help in their job search.
You got it. So that's one. And then you'll also notice at the top of LinkedIn, there's a menu bar, and it's next to profile, it's connections. And then if you go to the drop-down menu, it'll say add connections. And that's where you can upload your contacts. And then from there, you'll see another tab that will say colleagues. And then you'll go through your past work experience and see other people that work at this company that you also work there. See if you might know them. And then also your education. They'll pull in, and this is kind of fun, they'll pull in the different years that you were at that university, just a list of the names, and you can go through and click on invite if you know those people. So it's kind of a refresher. You're like, oh, I remember them, and that's kind of fun.
Give us your opinion on the number of contacts you need.
You know, it seems like 500 is the mark, you know, as far as on LinkedIn.
We've heard that a lot.
Yes, we have.
But the next question, that side of it is, well, what if I don't know the person? Do I still connect with them? And the truth is, think of it, how do you network offline? Sometimes this helps people to think of it like that. If you're a little bit more shy and you're a little bit more reserved and you're really close friends with your contacts, maybe that's how you want to network online too, you know, to stay true to yourself in that sense. And then maybe you reach out once in a while to a new person and just really get to know them. So then you might have fewer contacts. And if you're looking for maybe an HR or sales position in the future, as a recruiter looking for a salesperson, it's a value if they have lots of connections. Because to me, that means, okay, they're well connected, they're more people to sell to, whatever the product is. So it depends on your strategy, your personality type. Me, I go from the standpoint of, I'm an open networker. I like to meet new people. And so there is, I want to know them, you know, at least have a few emails go back and forth. And if it's somebody that I've never even heard of and they're sending an invitation, I'll go out to their profile, check them out, see if there's any similarities or possible interest in the future, and then see if their profile is 100% complete, because I can make my judgments too. And and then...
So you're telling us you base your judgment on that percentage of completion?
Not necessarily the percentage, but just like the quality, you know, that's in their words and what kind of personality comes through, whatever it might be, if they're serious about it. And if it's one of those that are just kind of on the border, if I want to connect with them or not, I'll send them a message back before I connect and say, you know, I'm very careful with who I add to my network because I believe in strong connections, how do you see yourself fitting in? You know, in such like a lighthearted way, as far as, because I want to provide value to you and, you know, back and forth.
Ooh, good approach.
So, and then if they come back and they have an answer and just, I'm really curious by what you do, then I'll connect with them. If they don't respond, I know the answer. You were just trying to add lots of people to your network. I know it's a long answer, but it goes...
Oh, no, that was wonderful.
But part of that long answer that made sense to me was that sequentially, you have to have your profile, which we spoke about in the last program, you have to have that done in order to be able to get full value out of your network.
Correct, because that's where people are going back to, you know. It's like showing up to that networking event with your PJs on. Like, that's what we talked about last time. Yes. So you want to have your stuff together. And so when they come back, they can, you know, make their assessment of if they want to connect with you or not.
So when someone sends you an invitation, please connect with me on LinkedIn, you need to do maybe a little back and forth prior to saying, okay, I accept?
That's just my personal preference.
Okay.
You know, everybody has their own strategy, and different people will tell you one way to do it, but there is more than one approach to it.
Okay.
So take into account your personality, the role that you're going after. Like I said, sales, you want to have more. But if it's like a C-level position, then you might keep it a little bit tighter knit because you don't want just anyone to get in. So.
Well, that's interesting because I think in the past we've always been told that more is better. The more connections you have, the better your profile would appear, and it's refreshing to hear that it can reflect what you want. You know, if your personality is a little, more selective, and your job search is more selective, to keep your profile that way as well.
So once again, Bethany is asking us to think.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Bottom line.
Yes.
New Landing's Job Chat will be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is William Easley, Managing Director of Wealth Management with Prosperity Advisory Group. A job loss is an unsettling experience that almost always challenges finances and lifestyle. Important decisions need to be made immediately that work toward protecting financial security, which include making significant adjustments to day-to-day spending habits. The obvious catch is how to make ends meet on less income. If you should find yourself and your family in this situation, you should begin by itemizing all of your current expenses, no matter how small, and assigning them as either fixed or discretionary. Examples of fixed expenses are mortgage payments or health insurance premiums. Discretionary expenses would include entertainment costs or that weekly dinner out at your favorite restaurant. The key is to eliminate as many of your discretionary expenses as possible and reduce your fixed expenses if able. More importantly, don't postpone these decisions even if you receive a generous severance package. You must tackle them right away. Your ability to maintain a wide array of financial options may depend on a proactive rather than a reactive approach to budgeting so that you can protect your other financial goals like retirement and the assets earmarked for them. Again, I'm William Easley with Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future.
Are there any things you shouldn't do when you're networking?
I would say don't be salesy. You know, be like, I saw you have this job posting, hire me or check out my resume or, be a person, be human. How would you want to be approached in that sense? Because they're going to be bombarded with all these applicants. Genuinely care, about the person, the position, thinking about how you can provide value to them. If they are an HR recruiter for a certain, it's the technology world. Maybe if you find an article, say, hey, thought you might be interested in this, and just shoot them a quick little message. So, does that answer your question?
Well, I just thought, well, there's some things that are a certain depth to your network if you put them in there, or certain things that you might want to stay away from doing.
The spam side of it, no. The message we talked about in the last show, as far as LinkedIn gives you a default message when you have a connection or you request an endorsement, change that text. Okay. So you're not a robot, so you're actually a person and you're communicating with them from who you are, your voice is coming through. And then when you're connecting, if somebody comes to you, they say, connect with me, I want you to be part of my network. Do not click on, I don't know this person, because if that person gets, I think, 5 of them, then they're kicked out of LinkedIn. They get put in, they get put in the LinkedIn prison, and they have to email LinkedIn, because they see them, LinkedIn sees them as a spammer or something like that. So click on ignore to at least, don't do them a disservice by clicking on I don't know them. So just click on ignore, and it'll get pushed to an archive. So you can always go back to those and see, oh, I guess I do know that person. That was an accident. I forgot that I knew them. And then you can connect with them. Otherwise, you can actually connect.
What about when you do ignore them? Is there a way to contact them, send them a message and say, refresh my memory, where did we meet?
I would say don't click ignore quite yet then, because right when that comes up, you'll have different options to view their profile, send a message, or I think there was one more, but since we don't have a screen, I can't remember. So
at that point is where you send a message
before
you accept it, and you just kind of help me, where do we meet? And, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I do want to be part of your network.
And even before that message, you could actually go check their profile out to see if anything jogs your memory on past work experience or the organizations that they're a part of or anything that's in there. And then go from that angle.
Yeah. If you look in LinkedIn and you look at a company and you see a name in there and you don't know that person, how do you go about finding somebody in your network or their networks that do know that person?
LinkedIn has it set up really nicely. So whether you see a job or a company that you want to work for, it's going to tell you where you have people that work there and what degree away they are in your network. So maybe it's a second degree or third degree connection. That's as far out as it goes. Then it says out of network. So second degree means that it's someone you know, or first degree is someone you know that they're already connected to you. Second degree is just one away. So somebody in your network knows that person. So that's a warm lead-in usually. And then the third is, the third. So it's like your connections and then your friends' connections, and somebody in each of those connections know each other. And that's hard to explain without a visual, but three away.
But those become your third cousins.
There you go.
The ones that you've never seen before.
And so there's ways, LinkedIn helps you by showing you that information. And if everybody's out of network and you don't have anyone in there, that's where you can do some of your homework and just click on the company, and it'll give you a few of the people that work there. Go out to their profiles, see what groups they're involved in on LinkedIn, and join those groups. And that leads us into the next point of that's where you can start networking, is in groups. And once you're in there, you have a whole list of people that are interested in that same topic or industry, whatever it might be. There are so many groups in there. And just go from there, start networking in there. And when I say networking, you're meeting new people within their like-minded, and you can post articles about that industry. You can ask questions. So since they're experts in the field and you're looking for a job, that's an opportunity to pitch your questions. And then they also post job opportunities within that group. And I think a lot of people are unaware of that. So join those groups that are relevant to your interest. And
especially if they're a professional association for that type of industry. Because those are the people that are working. Exactly. And you want to meet the people that are working because they are the ones who know when work opens up.
Exactly. And just start those relationships, be curious about what they do. Ask them the questions like, what is it like to work there? And interview them a little bit. And then when that job opportunity comes up, just send them a message saying, hey, I did notice that this job came open. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? What are they looking for? Any insight? Because you've already established that relationship. Now you have permission to ask about the job.
And again, the personal touch comes into play.
The personal touch.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that you say keeps reminding me that although this is a professional site, you still have to be yourself.
Yes.
And you still have to be honest in everything you do. You can't just establish something on a whim and fake yourself through it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there is a certain amount of, how could you put it? There's a certain amount of self-evaluation that you have to do when you're doing this.
Yeah, and just being authentic, like what you're talking about, just putting it out there, be who you are, and respectful at the same time of other people.
Yeah, because even though we call it social media, this is still a professional relationship that you're trying to establish.
Mm-hmm. You're networking, social networking.
Yeah.
Friends helping friends. Okay. And so I guess another point would be searches. We had talked about, instead of doing a job search all the time, do a people search. And going back to it, LinkedIn does offer the option to do a people search, a job search, or a company search, and group search as well. Mm-hmm. But on the company and job search, those are valuable. And people search, you can click on advanced, and once again, without a visual, it's right next to the little search button.
Okay.
Click on advanced, and it opens up another screen, and it gives you many more options to search. So you can search by your alma mater. So you can maybe look up all the CEOs that came out of your alma mater, and then you can connect with them if you want. If that's going to straight to the top, and you already have that warm lead in. Hey, I see that you're a Loper alum or UNK, whatever, K-State.
Is there a way that you can see where that individual went to school and then find out who in your network or somebody else's network went to that same school? Other than just going through and looking at their profiles?
You can just search by the university, and then when it comes up the search results, you can see your shared connections. So that as far as like if they're a second degree away, then you can see who that first is.
It will show you all people in those networks that come from that same school.
It won't say that school, but the search results will be from people that went to that school.
Okay.
But as far as if it's the in-between person, if it's a second degree, they might not have gone to that school. They might know each other from a work experience.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. So are there any other things that we need to know about searching in LinkedIn?
I would say just go in there and experiment with it and check out the advanced searches, and you'll see what we're talking about.
And you also had mentioned the booklet. How does one?
The booklet. The past couple shows I've offered listeners just a chance to email me, and I'll send them a booklet with this information, how to set up your profile, little tips and tricks, and then how to do the networking to build your network, some strategies there, and some to-dos, just a to-do list, which was our first show. So
Great.
Well, that's wonderful. And if they want this, where could they contact you?
At my email address, which is b@socialbuzzmedia.com. That will be posted on the website next to this show. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, of course.
Okay.
So,
Well, very good. Well, Bethany, thank you.
thank you.
Also, keep in mind that, of course, all of our job chats are available to you anytime on our website. And our website is newlandingsjobchat.org.
We thank you for listening. And as always, until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.